When Italy was announced as the venue for the next America's Cup, there was one thing we knew would happen. This. An instant crowd, infectious enthusiasm, and a massive party. The Italians love their sport, and thanks largely to Luna Rossa's obsession with trying to win the America's Cup, they love this too. And with their women and youth team dominating the racing over the last 2 days, this place will go wild if they win. And today, that could happen. I know I keep saying it, but I'm amazed by this event. It's an event that in theory doesn't matter for points, but it's incredible to see the excitement here. One of the other really interesting things is this team, the French. This team has been attracting a lot of interest over the last few months. Many think that they could be a very serious challenger for the next America's Cup. They haven't had it all their own way. In fact, they haven't had a lot of luck this week or this weekend so far. But when they've delivered, they really have. Great to see them here, great to see them doing well. And we actually spoke, or I spoke to Quentin Delapierre a few days ago about what his hopes were and where the team were at.
Quentin, great to see you. You're smiling away. I mean, if there's someone who's got more current experience on the water, I don't know who they are. You seem to be on the water all the time right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty really busy months of May. But honestly, yesterday we enjoyed so much the racing with all the 40. We were a bit alone in Lyon, to be honest. And yeah, yesterday we had good fun on the start. We had good fun tactically, and we just enjoyed sailing together.
Tell me why this event is so important.
I think this event is reasonably important. It's not a huge focus for the team. There is plenty ongoing for the 75 in Lyon, and the 40 is so much fun, honestly. Just one design and sailing together with 4 athletes on board with Diego and Flo and Jason. We just want to enjoy our journey, and if we can win this event, we will. But it's not our main focus. We're just here with the performance team, with the coaches, with the electronic department, and just to make sure our structure is improving months after months.
So you got 4 crew on an AC40, 5 on a 75, and 6 on the F50. Does that now make the AC40 and the F50 in SailGP more relevant to a cup boat because you've only got 5 on board and because it's basically a push-button boat?
I don't think so. I think it's a really different game. SailGP and the AC40 is one design boat, and it's all about racing and how good you are on basics and how good is your focus on winning races and play with the wind. The 75 is just making sure you understand well your system, you're pushing hard on what will make the difference on board with the system and the design. And tactically, and the start came a bit after. It's really important, obviously, but it came after the design. So, yeah, I think SailGP and the 40 is more similar than the 75 game.
Right. And what about the issue of having 2 helmsmen? So obviously on SailGP you've only got 1 helmsman that runs, but on AC40 and AC75 you've got 2, and you can't even see the other helmsman.
There is no issue.
No issue.
No. I think I enjoy pretty much sailing with Diego. He's super open-minded, focused on high performance, and we have good relationship, just focus on making his life easier, and it's the same for me. So I think you just have to assess that this is how the 40 is working, how the 75 is working, and as soon as you release the helm, you just focus on tactic and making moves for Diego. and he's doing the same for me also. So yeah, it's a different game, and I quite enjoy it, honestly. Just raising the performance side and the steering wheel for a bit. It's also quite interesting.
Yeah, you make it sound so easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Great to see you. Good luck.
Thank you.
But if there's one thing that is absolutely beyond doubt down here, is that who has got the bulk of the support? It's the Luna Rossa team, and in particular, the women and youth team. Their performance over the last 2 days and in the practice day has been utterly phenomenal. They've dominated the racing on the water. They haven't won every race, but they've come back from difficult positions. They've proved they got boat speed. They've proved they got flawless handling. When times get tough, they have been incredible to watch. Luna Rossa women and youth were punchy and led off the line, but they jumped the gun and didn't hear the call from the umpires. Not responding resulted in 2 penalties. This was not the start they wanted. And then it got worse.
The umpire is trying to give them the opportunity to do the right thing. The umpire team needs to see some effort from Luna Rossa women and youth to lose those penalties.
With no response from the team, the umpires disqualified them, sending them off the course. Their race was over, a staggering start to what should have been a straightforward race. Meanwhile, at the front, Dylan Fletcher in GB1 led through the first gate, with Luna Rossa's primary team led by Peter Burling in second. After the bruising disappointment of the first 2 days with no racing at all, GB1 was showing just how fast they could be when the boat held together. After 3 of the 6 legs, they were still leading, as they identified and hogged the best side of the course. Behind them, there was a tight battle, as the French were keeping the pressure on Burling and Tita. After 4 of the 6 legs, GB1 was still leading. 2 legs later, their first completed race had delivered a win. But the real needle match was as Burling and Tita's Luna Rossa took second, as they squeezed the French into third just as they crossed the line. As it turned out, this was a move that was to prove crucial in their bid for the final. For Luna Rossa, women and youth, their points advantage was reduced from 7 to just 1 over the Kiwis, with just 1 further point to Burling's Luna Rossa. The last race now counted for everything. With the pressure fully on, what were Gradoni and Porro thinking? From a minute out from the start, Luna Rossa women and youth looked like they were setting up for a port tack start. 1 minute later, they delivered just that, but they were over the line at the start, and then with the port tack crossing over the fleet that looked marginal, the umpires sent them back to the line, behind the fleets. Just seconds into the last race, and their place in the final looked like it was over. The British Athena Pathway were over the line too and had to return. At the first gate, it was Burling's Luna Rossa that led. The French were in second and GB1 in third. By the bottom gate, Burling and Tita were still leading. Holding this position would give them a place in the final. And after 3 more legs, it did. Further back in the fleet, Gradoni and Porro failed to find a way back into the race, while Outridge and the Kiwi boat finished in 5th and did what they needed to get their place in the final. So while we started the day thinking that the last race of the event would be between the Kiwis and the Italians, it was now, but with 2 different teams. A match between 2 hugely experienced and accomplished rivals in one design boats. 2 skippers that had won the last America's Cup in the same boat were now about to go head to head. It wasn't the result that many of the local supporters had been hoping for, but seeing the home team in the final was at least a relief. Seeing 2 boats start their pre-race dance was an apt reminder of the end game next year. But after some interesting chasing and defence work on both sides, both teams were approaching the start too early. Burling threw in 2 tacks, while Outris tried to kill time. But as the gun went, the Kiwis were half a second early. Advantage, Luna Rossa. From there, Burling and Tita delivered a perfect beat as they controlled the Kiwis. By the top gate, Luna Rossa was 13 seconds ahead. The breeze was settled and the sea stayed benign. Mistakes were hard to find. Indeed, the only one on the part of Luna Rossa was a wobble on the downwind leg, followed by a perfect recovery. And for the Kiwis, despite a decent 20-minute 6-leg race, there was no way back. Having stretched their lead to 340 metres, Luna Rossa crossed the finish to take the win of the first AC preliminary event.
Well done. That was a bit of a match, but it seemed like it was over quite early.
Yeah, I suppose our focus this morning was very much making it into the final. We felt like we left a lot of points out there the last couple of days. I suppose I didn't really feel like the level we're sailing was reflected that well on the scoreboard, but we're still on the hunt, so we went out, made a plan, executed it. So I was probably quite surprised when we got to have the call as to which entry we wanted. But super special to be able to do that for Luna Rossa. I was kind of hoping we'd be versing our teammates that have been really setting the benchmark all week in the final, but wasn't to be. But versing my old team was, I suppose, just as special, and to go out and execute a pre-start like that and really just dominate the races, I think a super exciting sign of things to come.
Do you think that was an illustration of sort of maybe the lack of experience compared to you guys? And your teammates are getting it wrong in those 2 crucial races going into the final.
I'm sure they'll learn a lot from it. I'm not really quite sure, but the benchmark's super high here. So if you make mistakes and you end up behind like we did on Friday, it's hard to come through. So I'm sure as a group we'll learn a lot from this and be back stronger in Naples in what's about 4 months' time.
It must have seemed rather strange in some ways to be facing someone in the final, facing Nathan, who you know inside out. You must have done so many starts against him in the build-up to the last cup. Yeah,
obviously Nathan inside out. Nathan knows me very well as well. We've raced against each other so much over our careers, and obviously with each other for the last kind of 4 years of that with Team New Zealand. So for me it was super special to race my old team, and but I think to come away from the win here on home waters is super promising for where we can go in the future. Third day racing with Luna Rossa, feels like we're improving substantially every day. So many things to work on and unpack from this event, but to get a win on the board and execute the way we did today was super proud of the group.
And it must be pretty important for you personally as well, because you've had to take a big risk in many ways to make the move that you've made, and this is a huge change at the very least. How does it feel on a personal level?
To be honest, when I left Team New Zealand I didn't think I was going to be in the next America's Cup. We obviously didn't come to terms, and I thought I'd just go do other things, but as soon as that news went out, the phone really started ringing and a lot of options became available very quickly. Amazing to really stoked with the one I've ended up going with Luna Rossa. The amazing team, amazing, I suppose, family feeling within the group, and I think we're super excited about the chance of winning the America's Cup on, I suppose, Luna Rossa's home waters for Italy for the first time in what's about a year's time now.
And just finally, for those that might be watching in on this, who think, well, yes, but it's only a preliminary event, it doesn't count to any points, it doesn't count for selection or anything else. Just how important is this event?
For sure you could say it doesn't count for anything, which it doesn't, but I think it's really the chance for the teams to check in a one-design environment, see how their team's performing, and for us, I suppose, seeing our youth and women really setting the benchmark for the first days and training going into this, and then to be able to kind of, I suppose, try and catch them up the whole way through, and then eventually get the win today was, I suppose, super pleasing for us as a group, and we're super excited by the way it shows the level the team's performing.
Nathan, first of all, commiserations, but what a match. It looked like a lot of it was over at the beginning.
Yeah, we made a bit of an error at the very end of the trigger pull, but up until that it was a cool pre-start, and super interesting when you get to go and race against the person you did all the starts with in the last America's Cup. We all know the moves, we know the counter moves, and it was all on, and unfortunately we just didn't execute our plan how we should have, and we paid the price for that, but that's life.
It was only a few split seconds, really, wasn't it? Because when we saw Peter tack off and kill some time by attacking, that could have gone against him. If you'd actually managed to, if both had been a few seconds later, could have gone badly for him.
Yeah, exactly. And the counter move to that was to go with him, and we should have just gone with him and stayed between him and the line. And we're in a really strong spot. But you've got a split second to make the call, and we made the call to go down to the pin end, which had some line bias, which we thought would be enough to make the first cross. But we just couldn't shake that final second that were early for the pin. And it's that tough one where you want to hit the line at full speed, but so you got to kill early, and we just didn't quite kill enough early there. So I'm sure we'll review it, and that's match racing. You got to go for the wins. You got to really put it on the line, and we got it wrong, and that's all right. There'll be plenty more.
It looked like conditions had settled down quite a lot. The breeze looked, from what we could see, quite stable. Wasn't much of a sea state. In many ways, what a dreadful time not to have the race course that we had 2 days ago.
Yeah, exactly. When you are behind, you want to shift. You want a bit of jeopardy happening in the race, and it was shifting 3 degrees and going up and down a quarter of a knot. So, once we got up and going, it was really up to them to make mistakes to lose it from there, and they started a really good race. And the Luna Rossa senior team today actually started really well. All 3 races they did a great job, and they're deserving winners, and we're a little frustrated with ourselves, but we can't wait for the next one.
Very interesting, or more than a coincidence, to see the 2 most experienced, currently most accomplished, because you currently hold the America's Cup anyway, or have done, to see them at the top. I mean, it was a surprise to those of us watching that the other Luna Rossa team seemed to freak out on both starts and get it so badly wrong. Is that an indication of just how much pressure there really is out there?
Yeah, I didn't really see what happened to Luna Rossa Grade A, the youth and women's team, but they obviously had some issues. And I think what people don't understand is every time we wake up in the morning at these events, you feel the pressure. It's an important event. You need to do a really good job. And the more you do it, the easier it is, right? And, if we've been doing it for decades, okay, you go out, you go through the processes, you do your job, you do it well. But I guess, new people coming into it, they can sometimes feel the pressure, and perhaps that's what happened today. I can't really speak for them at all, but I do know every time we spike off and we get going, you get that little moment with the crew, and you're like, this is our moment to shine and to do what we love doing, and we love that feeling.
It's been a superb event, but what do we learn? Well, there's no shortage of support for the Cup here in Italy. The crowds prove that day after day. But perhaps the most significant thing for me is seeing 2 of the strongest teams in the Cup with the longest recent histories compare on talent rather than technology. 2 top sailors who've won the last America's Cup were the pair that made it through and went head to head, and it was Burling's team that took the prize. Clearly, it's very early days, and we're nowhere near seeing how the AC35s will compare. But if nothing else, this event win goes to prove why losing Burling to the Italians was a big blow to the Kiwis. And finally, on a personal point, the only downside for me was I never got to see any pink flamingos.